Hey there, welcome to another episode of the Cable Plus Property Show on Cable Plus Property, your #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed properties. We ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have easy access to every information related to land procurement, building construction, registration, documentation, and obtaining planning permit. My name is Oiza and I am live in the city of Abeokuta, the capital of Ogun State, Nigeria, where I'll be speaking with a town planner, one who has worked as the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Urban and Regional Planning in Ogun State, as well as the author of the book Urban and Regional Planning in Nigeria, a public service perspective. He's no other than town planner Stephen Adewolu. Come with me. So in light of that, I would like you to explain, sir, how useful or relevant has the decree been to Nigeria in general and Ogun State in particular?
I've already told you, they found out that people are finding, investors are finding it very difficult to buy land because of multi-ownership. And the result is that they go to court. And in most cases, the court proceeding or process takes longer period, and at the end of the day, the final analysis is the rich man that will probably win the case because the other poor man will have given out. So in order to streamline, to make it easier for people, for investors to procure land for the development of the state, the land use decree was enacted.
So how useful has it been for Ogun State in particular?
Okay,
in terms of development,
if there was no land use decree, probably that secretariat would not be there because the state government might not be able to. We will probably remain at the Ibarra where we started. Probably, you see the new judicial headquarters at Kobakwe. Yes, Kobakwe wouldn't have been there if there's no land use decree, no acquisition power by the state government. Now, the interchange, it is called Flower Gate Scheme, wouldn't have been possible if there was no acquisition because it's within acquisition. It was land acquisition by the state government that enabled that place to be allocated to all those developers that you are finding there. So without acquisition, it couldn't have been possible. The access from interchange to Lagos, all those development right and left, I mean major development, I'm not saying Moshood, couldn't have been possible without acquisition. So without acquisition, all the regional organizations just be building anyhow and they will be overlapping. There will be more confusion. Without acquisition from the government, it could have been terrible. Poor people will not even will be completely alienated from land ownership. Well, with the acquisition, they can apply to land for residential plots, which the government has laid out, and if they're able to pay, they will give them because of acquisition. Because of acquisition, the Ladering Workers' Camp was built by OGD. If there's no government acquisition, it could have been extremely difficult. Without acquisition, HID, Awolowo Estate, and then the grain, this opaque one, built by the immediate past government, couldn't have been possible, could have been extremely difficult without acquisition. People are benefiting, and you have workers estate there also. Without acquisition, this yellow roof, carcass, which the government is building, couldn't have been possible because to procure the land, buy from Onile, from Kinikon will be extremely difficult. The government will just turn its eye to another area. So acquisition has been positive. Without acquisition, most of the road expansion that we noticed today in Okuse couldn't have been possible. So in other words, without acquisition, University of Funab couldn't have been possible because University of Ibadan, we were told, was to be in Abeokuta, but the KBAC then said no land, and there was no land use decree. It was after it failed, and then people realized that it has gone to Ibadan. Now give them the arrow for mental people. Without acquisition, all those major development, infrastructure development by the government, federal or state, would have been very extremely difficult. So generally, there's no good policy without people inflating to create more product to manipulate. Generally, from the main objective and the evidence before us now, it appears the land use
act has been very useful.
Is very useful.
Okay, so still particular about Ogun State. So far, would you say developers have been obtaining planning permits before construction? Have they been obedient? Have they been following through the rules? And which agency is responsible for the processes of obtaining planning permits? What consequences are available for anyone who does not?
Okay. There are two ways to it. Sorry. That is my own observation based on my experience and my view. Now, even acquisition, government acquisition without deliberate purpose, just for the purpose of acquiring land and leaving them for years, is a problem. So people now encroach on the land because they are looking for land and build. Now, if you build within government acquisition, no town planner will grant you development permits. So today, there's thousands of them. Okay. 2, there is equally lack of understanding. Some people believe the when they have bought their land and they have obtained the survey plan, it is enough for them to go and carry out development, which is wrong. Maybe some professionals are misleading them, which is wrong. The law is clear. Even if you have been granted allocation by state governments or even federal government with CFO, the right to develop that land has been taken away from you by the same government unless you have building plan approval or development permit. The one you don't have development permit on that land, which is legitimately allocated to you by government supported with CFO, you are a contravenor if you develop. So in the law, Urban Regional Planning, section 33 to 35, it says every developer of land must submit their plan, building plan, to the appropriate authority to procure approval. It goes further, 33 and 34, that even the government, whether federal or state, whether department or agency, do not have immunity. They must procure development plan before they can be allowed to carry out that development. Okay, let me give you an example. The immediate past Chief Judge of Ogun State, Honorable Justice Olokpade, wanted to add some structure to their old Ishabo High Court. He took permission. She received approval. Wanted to build magistrate court at Agbara Estate. She applied, was granted approval. Their current headquarters now had deemed approval in principle granted by the immediate governor of the state. So in other words, they complied. So there are so many examples there and there that we will just mention. Okay, the Obasanjo President Library had approval because I was still in government. It was approved.
We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Cable Plus Property, the hub of professionals in the built environment and the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed property. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your fingers, free of charge, all information on landed matters. We provide you with all information you need to know about land procurement, land documentation and development, planning permit procurement, building construction, and so on. Join us today for free by subscribing to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and check us on our website www.cableplusproperty.com. Together, we shall make our environment better. Spend and build right.
Hi, welcome back. It's still the Cable Plus Property Show on Cable Plus Property, and I still have Town Planner Stephen Adewolu with me. Okay, sir. Some parts of our cities are old and require regeneration. How do we achieve this without the government raising eyebrows without the owners of the building, I beg your pardon, raising eyebrows? And what should government do for these builders, that is the owners of these buildings, before displacing them?
Okay, first of all, when we started, I said your outfit is demonstrating public awareness. Public awareness and participative democracy, not necessarily politics, in doing things matters a lot. If government is to carry out urban renewal, it could be environmental improvement, it could be total clearance, which is not acceptable even in the world again, and it's very expensive, or partial improvement. They must carry the people along. The moment you sensitize them, carry them along, make it a participatory project, you are likely to have support. And then you have support, it will be flow. That is not to say you won't see some odd man out. You find them, or the majority will carry the vote. Now, like I have already said, there are 3 ways of rehabilitation or improving that slum that you have just mentioned. And in the regional development plan for Ogun State that we mentioned, it captures that area. The report told us that there is no city in Ogun State that is not suffering from serious urban renewal. They are blighted. Those in the inner core area are blighted. You know, there's difference between slum and blight. Slum, no title document, like your people in Lagos say that encroach on our land in Ogun State. No man's land, and just building. They don't have title to it, and they are building mushroom properties, probably on acquired land. Those are slums. No plan. They didn't plan it, and they have no title to it. Slum. That's my grandfather's house at Totoro area, and the rest of them. By the time you are in Olumorok or Obasanjo Hilltop line, you look at the facades of the roof, you see that they are brown. They are already going. They've gone. They are crying for urban renewal. And how do we now classify them? They need urban renewal. No potable water, no toilet, no kitchen in most cases. Most of the people defecate as if they are still in the villages, on the rock. Those rocks that should be out front, that should be for recreation or something, they defecated there. And in the process, they accentuate or assist typhoid fever, cholera fever, invite dengue fever through these rats. And if anything, I don't need to go too deep about that one. You know, they cause health hazard in sanitary situation. So that one will cause the roof is gone, structurally it is weak, internal facility, kitchen, toilet are not there. So they are already due for total clearance. But total clearance is not feasible. It's very, very expensive. To do total clearance for the blighted and urban renewal area designated already in Abeokuta alone, the state government budget for the year plus support from the federal government cannot solve it. Need to say Ijebu-Ode, Shagamu, Ota, Ilaru, something. So that one again led to the thinking of the immediate past governor that most of these people are poor. That's why they are living where they are living. And you'll be surprised if you get to some houses that the house is partially collapsed. You see these old people there, living there. If they have a safe place, they wouldn't live there. So that shows the extreme rate of poverty. And then you know that in such a unsightly environment, derelict environment, this is where we have these area boys, and some of them, I'm not saying the sophisticated Yahoo, or the growing of the Yahoo group, because from there they now move. And then the criminal tendency continues there because of the environment they live. Environment influences the nature, influences human behavior. Your environment determines to a large extent your actions or inaction or your activities to that environment. If you are living in a very sane environment, of course, you want to maintain that standard. But if you are living in a very crowded environment with criminal tendencies, then there's tendency that the crime rate will continue to grow further. So urban renewal solve the social problem, physical problem, and welfare problem, of water supply, electricity, and then good road or footpaths. So when the immediate past governor saw that this one cannot be solved, he said, if you don't help these poor people, the rich people, they have no security. Because if you just leave them the way they are, you don't solve their problem for them, you will not be able to sleep. And you will not be safe. Neither your children. He said, okay, and we cannot demolish all this. What we can do now is to give them Homeowners Charter. Which means if they are developing government acquired land without immediate use for that land, then land can be released to them and they will be granted CFO plus building plan approval. For those of them that have bought land even from another person without title document, they will give them that title document and then the building plan approval will be granted to them. So at least they will be able to use that one as collateral to improve their situation, maybe their family business, or even to sponsor their raise loan from the bank to sponsor their children. And that poverty circle will be broken.
Okay, so I would like you to state what's the situation of obtaining CFOs in Ogun State, particularly what are the documents required and which agency do you approach?
Okay, from my little past experience, you obtain CFO. If it's government allocation, when they give you allocation letter and you have paid, they will tell you CFO will be issued later, which means you should not have any stress in obtaining the CFO. But that is not the true picture of things. You still have to go up and down to be able to follow. Then from that angle, I'll say there's need for attitudinal change of those people possessing government CFO for government allottees. For the other area, they will say you must have a tax clearance, stamp duty receipt for if you buy the land from the family or private. If it's a private land, there must be stamp duty receipt, and then stamp duty receipt with tax clearance and development levy. You now go back, apply to the DG lands for CFO. For the CFO, so the DG land, they will now do the needful, pass it down. The officers will work on it and tell you how much you have to pay to government. It will pass through the DG lands to the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice for Mr. Governor's approval, endorsement for the CFO. If it is consent, it's follow the same trend. Somebody has gotten CFO and you purchase the land from him, then you need governor's consent. Then you have to, your tax clearance is mandatory also with development levy and copy of that CFO. Then we now apply for CFO. Your demand that sold you, or the one that sold the land for you, will apply on behalf for the CFO. He has to pay certain amount to the government, and then that one I understand before it will stop at the within the office of Attorney General for endorsement. It hasn't got to go to Mr. Governor. Though the situation might have changed, I don't know. But that's the procedure. But by and large, the people that do process such CFO or consent in Ogun State are mostly lawyers, and then town planners also, who is knowledgeable. I mean, practice town could assist them because they'll be able to talk and liaise with their colleagues in that bureau of lands, and then make sure they've properly charted your survey. It is in order, it doesn't fall within government acquisition. If it does, then the issue will come up where it has to be ratification or accommodation. They have what they call ratification or accommodation. If that land you want to procure the CFO on falls within government acquisition, they will ask you to go and apply for ratification or accommodation. It is those people in land that will advise you appropriately on what to do. But again, we should ask, and then as far as possible, aspire to follow due process so that we will not create problem for ourselves on the long run. It is better for people to follow due process.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. It's been great talking to you. I've learned from listening to you, and I can't wait to also take a read at your book.
Okay, thank you very much.
But very quickly, sir, I would like you to say something about the Cape. I know you've done that earlier, but I just want to confirm if you have subscribed to our YouTube channel.
No.
Okay.
I have not subscribed to it.
Well, we're sure you will when you get it.
I'm already subscribed
of your videos. Thank you very much, sir. All right, thank you so much for watching. I trust that you've learned a lot from that interview, because I did. Well, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything at all. Also, like the video and share with friends, family, and colleagues. Head on to our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram at Cable Plus Property to follow us. I'll see you in the next video. My name is Oiza. Have a great day.